Hey folks, Jim Wallace here, Executive Director of Gun Owners Action League. A lot going on, both with this garbage set of laws known as Chapter 135, or what we call the Devil's Snare. As most of you know, we've filed yet another lawsuit on a small piece of this thing. And as we said over a year ago, that if it passed, that's how it would have to happen. That, we'd have to take this piecemeal and work with our national and local partners to try to make that go smoothly. And it hasn't, because the state keeps suspending pieces that we challenge. This latest one with the 18 to 20-year-olds is bigger than some might think. And I don't expect that they're going to suspend that part of the law. But who knows? We'll see. Now, one of the things I really want to talk about a little bit is I know people are really struggling to try to comprehend this incomprehensible piece of legislation that is now law. And even some are saying, gosh, it's been since the end of July, and you still don't have a reasonable summary of this bill, now law, to read. I'm sad to say that may never happen. Now, John Green is doing a phenomenal job out there. He's probably 3 nights a week out teaching what we do know, which is 2.5 to 3 hours, and there's still an awful lot of questions we can't answer and frankly, may never be able to answer. People should keep in mind that after the 1998 law was passed, we spent 25 years trying to unravel that thing and still never completely got it done. And this one's even worse. So, take for instance the assault-style firearm stuff. So the way it's written and the way that the police are being taught about it is that there are 3 dates involved, 3 grandfathering dates. The 1994 date, the 2016 date, and now the 2024 date. And a lot of people don't agree with that. And sometimes we take grief over providing that interpretation because people are arguing, wait a minute, the 94 date as far as the guns go doesn't even appear in the law anymore. And I am 100% with you. However, it's very interesting, and we've had a lot of conversations about this at the office, that the way the state is looking at it is you have to have known what was in law prior to this passing. In other words, were things lawfully owned before the clock ticked past midnight on August 1st, or it would have been July 31st of 2024. So you actually have to refer to law that's no longer there to try to understand what's going on. And to make things more complicated, the 2016 date that's in there states that, shall not be a copy or duplicate. Now, to you and I, that would mean, yeah, okay, so what? They're no longer a copy or duplicate. But the way the state is interpreting this is that anything after that date will be a copy or duplicate. So it's incredibly poor language, and I won't name names, but I was in discussion with some folks, and I was told point blank, well, the courts are going to have to work this out. Well, in order for the courts to work this out, that means somebody has to be charged with a felony and then go to court and hope and pray that the attorneys can turn this around. That is not a way to deal with a civil right, period, anywhere in this country. Further confusion, the semi-automatic stuff, which is just ridiculous. I wrote a short piece about it, a week or so ago, and you literally have to refer to 3 sections of law, and one section isn't even in the general laws. It's just a section in the bill that was passed that unless you knew to look in the bill for this exemption, you wouldn't even know it existed. So people are desperately asking us questions, and folks, we're desperately trying to get you answers. But the other thing is, too, is we don't want to get you in trouble. And a lot of people will say, well, Jim, you guys are overreacting. You're going to the extremes on this. To a great extent, that's our job. We live in a very hostile state. We want to tell you what can happen. And to the point where attorneys now, when they're answering questions, their response is, what's your risk tolerance? That should never happen when you're trying to figure out what a law says. So our job is to keep you out of the courtroom, out of jail, and certainly do not want any of you to go through life with a felony record. So these laws are very confusing. Again, the devil's snare. The state basically has no answers. Law enforcement has no idea how to enforce this stuff. One of the big things that's coming up is our 250th anniversary of Lexington and Concord, which, by the way, Goal has events planned for that, and we'll get that out soon. But they removed the black powder exemption from the laws, the Massachusetts laws, with this Chapter 135. Why did they remove it? And some of the legislators, when they're asked about it, oh, well, there's a federal exemption for that stuff. Then why did you remove the state exemption? So all these reenactors are really on edge as to whether, especially the non-residents, whether they can even come and possess black powder. I can't imagine anybody being arrested for being in a reenactment, but there's always that chance. So the guidance letters that are coming out from the state, just remember, those are only guidance letters. They didn't come from the Attorney General. They're not enforcement letters. They're just guidance letters from a state agency. Will those stand up in court if somebody is charged? I don't know. And I've asked a bunch of law enforcement and attorneys. They don't know either. So I guess, folks, the mass confusion that surrounds this, we're really doing our level best to try to sort through it and help in any way we can. It's going to be a long road. We warned everybody way before this passed that if it did pass, it would take years to try to sort through, whether it's in the courts or just trying to figure out how it's going to be enforced. And, sadly, we were right. So we will continue to do what we do, and hopefully we'll move forward, get some of this garbage thrown out. And don't forget, the legislature's in session, so who knows what they're going to do. But anyway, thanks for your support. Thanks for your memberships. And we'll continue to do our best. Thank you very much.